A freighter carrying a crew of 29 disappeared on Lake Superior during a severe storm last night, and so far, no survivors have been found. The freighter, the Edmund Fitzgerald, was transporting iron ore when it ran into high winds and 25-foot waves.
In 1975, the SS Edmund Fitzgerald, one of the most famous ships to cross the Great Lakes, became Lake Superior's most infamous shipwreck. But go onto social media today, and you would think that it sank yesterday. Young people, especially Gen Z, are posting memes and videos and seem to obsess over this shipwreck that happened 50 years ago. So what I wanted to know was, why are young people who were born decades after this ship sank so obsessed with the wreck? And what does the 50th anniversary of the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald mean for the people who were alive and experienced that day themselves? First launched in 1958, the SS Edmund Fitzgerald was the largest ship to sail the Great Lakes for 14 years until 1971. The ship mainly carried taconite, an iron ore found all over northern Minnesota, and it would ship this taconite to steel mills in Michigan and Ohio. That's the type of cargo that it was carrying on November 10th, 1975, the day it sank in Lake Superior. A freak November storm with wind gusts up to 80 miles an hour and waves up to 25 feet high took the ship down less than 20 miles from land, sinking just off the coast of Canada near Whitefish Bay. As a tribute to the crew and a way to support their families, Canadian folk artist Gordon Lightfoot released an over 6-minute-long ballad less than a year after the ship sank, detailing the last night and the last voyage of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Was in peril. And later that night when his lights went out of sight, came the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
But those aren't the only people who have been memorializing the Edmund Fitzgerald. Tava Johnson is an anthropology major at the University of Minnesota. For the past 2 years now, she's hosted a party for the Edmund Fitzgerald.
But we had from people 4 to 8 p.m. We watched like 3 documentaries. We watched the Shipwreck Museum live stream and the live stream from Split Rock Lighthouse. We had some drinks to honor the 29 men, and we had a moment of silence at 7:14 when it was presumed to go down. I went to a different party for another historical event, and that one was just kind of small. It was a couple people, but I thought about it and I was like, I care a lot about the Edmund Fitzgerald, but it's also kind of fun to like have a party, so why don't I combine the two? And I brought it up to my roommates and they were like, one of them knew what the Edmund Fitzgerald one was, but the other one didn't know. And I was like, that's crazy that you don't know. I need to teach you about this. And then I kind of was like, well, what if the party was like fun, but you also got to learn about the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald? Not just the song, but the actual wreck. It was a nice way. It wasn't disrespectful, I don't think. It kind of made light of it, the fact that it's a meme, but like it also educated people. Well, they could have fun and learn and also kind of like commemorate the lives of these people who were lost and what that led to.
But Tava isn't the only young person with a fascination with the Edmund Fitzgerald.
The wind and the wires made a tattletale sound, and the wave broke over the railing.
For the past few years, Gen Z has been posting memes, videos, all kinds of content to honor and commemorate the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
It's the Edmund Fitzgerald. It sank in Lake Superior in 1975. 29 people died, dude.
There are even entire meme pages with millions of views and tens of thousands of followers dedicated solely to posting memes about the Edmund Fitzgerald. Some videos didn't even have anything to do with the Edmund Fitzgerald, and yet they still received thousands of likes and tens of thousands of views because they used the song by Gordon Lightfoot. Throughout all of these posts, whether they were directly referencing the Edmund Fitzgerald, alluding to it slightly, or not even mentioning it, as long as they used the song by Gordon Lightfoot as a track on their post, they were getting thousands of likes and tens of thousands of views on their videos. So to help me figure out why Gen Z is so obsessed with Gordon Lightfoot's ballad about the Edmund Fitzgerald,
It's
I talked to Dr. Alyssa Barna, a music theory professor at the University of Minnesota.
But when it comes to songs that were written before the TikTok era, songs that are really long, like The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, when those go viral, it's a little bit more of a specific situation, like tied to this anniversary that we're seeing now. Sometimes it has big impacts too. Sometimes those songs suddenly launch into like the Billboard charts, like Kate Bush's Running Up That Hill did a few years ago. But when we see these songs reappear on social media, there's usually sort of a memeing function to it, whether it's tied to history or not. And they take out certain aspects of that song that are still very memorable and hook-like. And that's what gets repeated over and over again. But by something older coming into younger people's consciousness through social media, I think it's a little bit disarming to some people at first. There's a lot of videos on TikTok. Why am I listening to the Edmund Fitzgerald suddenly? Why do I know about this boat? My dad listens to this, so on and so forth. But it gives us a nice sort of intergenerational chance to listen to new music, or music that's at least new, but very old.
So Tava and Dr. Barna taught me a lot about why young people might really like this meme, why young people might be obsessed with this shipwreck. But I wanted to learn more about what it means for the people who were alive that day 50 years ago, who experienced it, and what 50 years after the sinking might mean to them. So on November 10th, I went up to Split Rock Lighthouse for their beacon lighting ceremony to talk to people who were there that day.
every year, of course, being local, every year we hear about the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, and every year there's the event that happens and they read the names off of those that died and perished, and there was people that were from the local area.
John H. McCarthy, first mate.
I'm familiar with one of the children of someone that was lost. And the one thing that sticks out in my mind is that in my lifetime, this is an event that happened in my lifetime, and I remember when it happened. And Split Rock Lighthouse is a significant part of our life up here. You see it every time you drive up and down the highway.
I was in the Coast Guard at the time Fitzgerald went down, stationed over in Bayfield, Wisconsin.
Really?
And I was on watch the night when the calls first started coming in, and yeah, you could hear the chatter going. As soon as you could hear the chatter, you knew something was going on.
Did you think something that big was going to happen?
Not really. No, I mean, at the time that was the biggest ship on the lakes, and it's small in comparison to some of the ships now. But and even at that time, you didn't think anything would take one of those ships out. But he had a reputation of going out in the nasty stuff, so.
Before the ceremony, I even had the chance to ask a question to the site managers.
What do you think that means that young people who weren't even born 25 years after the sinking are still connecting with this event and still have a strong interest in events like this and commemorating this?
Yeah, I'm guilty of using this song on my social media for that too, but no, I think it does help, just keep the awareness of the Fitz and the event itself there for people, and it does seem to resonate, and I think that all has a lot to do with just the storytelling that's in the song. People can really connect to it because it's pretty down to earth in a sense that people really can resonate with it, and I think it does help just keep people aware that this is still something that people need to remember and respect.
Over 2,000 people came to the lighthouse that night to honor the memory of the men who died, to hear all 29 names read aloud, to hear the bell ring 29 times. Whether it's the mystery of how the ship went down that night, whether it's the tragedy of what those 29 men went through that evening, whether it's the impact it had on their families and their communities, people still care, and I feel like people want to care.
We live in a very apathetic time right now, and we all care about the Edmund Fitzgerald, so who cares if we care a little too much about it? You gotta have a little fun, even if it's something sad.
Whether it's through an internet meme or lighting a beacon, people want to show that these men will be remembered.